talking to myself and feeling old. Sometimes I like to quit, nothing ever seems to fit. Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down. What I've got they used to call the blues.
We'll see, it was so fortuitous. Amy Mann released this, I think, within the last few days, I think. And it's actually, she recorded it for that Tim Robinson thing, the Chair Company or whatever it's called, the thing I'm probably never going to watch. And it is a rainy day, and it is a Monday, so, thus I would say these things. It's Ask or Tell Me Anything, by the way. You can call 888-720-9677, as several people already have, 888-720-WNPR. Oh boy, those things are all kind of interconnected in an interesting way. So, yes, 888-720-9677, 888-720-WNPR. There are no rules. There are no restrictions. No restrictions apply. So you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Before we take the calls, I wanted to say that I was noticing myself. I have Hoka sneakers on today. I guess you don't call them sneakers anymore, but whatever they are. I was noticing how graceful I feel in my Hokas. And so the person I share a life with, she gets the life on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I get them on the other days. I get the life on the other days. I share a life with this person who says that I stomp. I'm a stomper. As walkers, when it comes to walking, I don't walk right, and I stomp. The word stomper has been applied to me. And I would just like to say I have a cat-like, almost panther-like quality as I'm prowling the halls of CT Public here at the Lily Tyson Quality Entertainment Production skyscraper. I feel like I'm like the Black Panther, except I'm not. But I'm graceful. Anyway, it's nice to feel graceful once in a while. All right, I don't know how to begin. All right, let's begin with jumping spiders. He was waiting. He was waiting the longest. So Eric gets to go. Hi, Eric. You have the floor.
Hey, Colin. I'm calling for a couple of reasons. One, that over the past couple of years, I've raised several species of spiders as temporary pets, and to observe their predatory behavior and.
Now, wait just a second. First of all, when you say temporary pets, do you put them up for adoption eventually? Do they become rescue spiders?
No. I capture them myself, right around my apartment, the outside of my apartment. So I don't order them. That's one of the points that I want to make, because actually there is an online article, NPR article, on dated September 29th, about people who actually order jumping spiders online.
Spider trafficking is what we're talking about. Spider trafficking is one of the nation's shames. All right, let's return to you. So you are growing these spiders, you're raising these spiders, you're hand feeding them. You have like a little, tiny little eyedropper kind of thing where you feed them spider milk? Little spider milk? No.
No, I'm not breeding them. I just...
You capture them.
I capture them and raise them long enough to video record their feeding behavior and some of their other... and to also help me identify them. I have so far... raised a bold jumping spider, which is Phidippus audax, zebra jumping spider, and a tan jumping spider. And
but not the Himalayan jumping spider.
Not the Himalayan jumping spider. I assume those would really be difficult to feed, even the large adult ones.
A little granola, I think they're fine.
Yeah, I haven't seen them being sold online either. In fact,
we don't even want to talk about that because it's spider trafficking.
Yeah, I wouldn't even. I'm not even aware. I wasn't even aware that this has become an industry, actually. And on the, I guess on the positive side, as this article describes, that having raising these as pets helps some people overcome their fear.
Their arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia, which in some people can be very severe enough to be very debilitating. Jumping, actually, a lot of the customers, the people who purchase them, either online or from pet shops, are actually women who are trying to overcome their fear of jumping spiders, or of spiders in general, or just find their appearance and behavior to be endearing, and they are interesting. They are interesting to observe and to look at. They engage in this, what they call front leg wagging, where they lift their front pair of legs up and kind of wag them in the air, and they stalk their prey, which in my case was small house crickets.
Oh my God! It's like Silence of the Lambs at your house. You got the spiders in the pit with the crickets, and it's just it's worrisome, I have to say. Well, Eric, I could listen to you talk about spiders all day, but I'm not sure the rest of the people listening to the show could listen to you talk about spiders all day. So we're going to go back to the phones here. 860-720. People would actually buy spiders so they could get over their fear of spiders. They have spiders shipped in the mail, because there aren't any spiders here. And we have to look into that. We're going to have a Colin McEnroe show investigation into that. 720-9677. That's 888-720-9677. That's how you call in about, as we've just illustrated, whatever you want. 888-720-WNPR. And this is going to be a little confusing because we're having problems with our software. But we're not going to let that throw us. Not for 1 second. We're going to go right now to Kim. Kim, you have the floor, hopefully, right now.
Oh, my goodness. Good afternoon. I think I'd rather talk about spiders. No. I have arachnophobia, and now I've learned that spiders jump. Are you kidding me?
Not all of them. Not all of them jump. No. You have to see what event they're entered into. Some of them are just long distance runners, but there are jumping spiders, and the pellets of the Himalayan jumping spider are considered very precious. So,
but I actually called about healthcare, and I hope this isn't tone deaf. Actually, given the current state of affairs and the government lockdown and the Affordable Care Act and all that other stuff, but I had called months ago and actually didn't get through. I got through, but the show was over before I got on. And I just don't understand not only the cost of health care, but the reasoning behind. I will tell you, I'm retired, so I was on Aetna, which is a supplement, and they gave $1,200 a year for preventative maintenance on this body, right? Yeah. Which meant that I could do yoga classes and exercise classes and or join a gym. And let me tell you, I used every bit and then some. And the next year, they cut it completely out. Completely. They didn't even give anything. And I did a lot of searching, and there are literally no insurance companies that are giving preventative care or offering some kind of reimbursement for anything that you do to keep yourself healthy.
Yeah, you would think obviously that it would be to their advantage to do that. One book that I would recommend to you is American Sickness by Elizabeth Rosenthal, which is a little older at this point, but it does a really great job of looking at this. And then Robin Doyen-Aiken, who answered your call. Oh, no. Yes, she did answer your call. Recommends the book Bad Company by Megan Greenwell. What health insurance companies do typically is very numbers driven and very actuarially driven. So it would seem to make, so maybe they looked at the numbers and did some advanced metrics and said, you know what? Having Kim do yoga, that's not really getting us anywhere. It's not as good as I have this whole theory right now. I shouldn't even say this because it is just totally a theory based on anecdotal evidence, but that increasingly what they want to do with older patients is get them into nursing homes. So because it's cheaper cheaper to put them there than to keep them in the hospital and try to figure out what's wrong with them, or send them to a more expensive kind of rehab center and stuff like that. But so anyway, share your frustration. Keep doing your yoga and and stay away from jumping spiders, and you'll be fine. I feel like you'll be fine. I think we'll be having a conversation a year from now. And speaking of spiders, okay, I would like to say that this person is calling from what I believe to be a fictional town, because I know all the towns and all the villages and all the hamlets here in Connecticut, and there's quite a bit of them. Nonetheless, Lil purports to be calling from Wiggingham, Connecticut, which is a made-up place in my opinion. Hi, Lil.
Hi. It's not Wiggingham. It's Wiggingham.
Oh, Wiggingham is a real place. Although I think Wiggingham is a much funnier place. Maybe you should start saying you're from Wiggingham.
Yeah, right.
All right. So what's on your mind?
I just wanted to say I love the guy that just called about the spiders. I am an animal lover and enthusiast, and I have spiders in my yard and sometimes in my house, and I love the little jumping spiders.
You do?
I do. I think they're really cool. You can actually interact with them. He was talking about how they sort of do a little thing with their front legs.
Yeah.
Well, if you do it back to them, they will do it back to you.
So you feel like you're connecting with the spiders.
Yeah.
When you say do a little thing with their, like, they do a little dance with their front legs, they do a little dance, make a little love.
They lift them up.
Yeah.
They lift them up. Sometimes one at a time, sometimes both together, and then they sort of tap them on the ground. And if you do that with your fingers and your hand at a little distance, they will react to it.
You know what the song says? The Lord God made them all. Each precious jumping spider, each nasty little bug. He made the armadillos. I can't think of what rhymes with bug. All right, so that was the good interaction. It's Ask or Tell Me Anything. Can you tell that it's Ask or Tell Me Anything? 888-720-9677. Oh, man, it's going to turn into spider talk. But let's go to Jim first, then we'll go to Chris, then we'll go to Jen. Or the other way around. I don't really know. Let's start with Jim. Hi, Jim. Jim from New Britain, a real place, not like Wiggingham. So, Jim, what's on your mind?
I wanted to find out about why these people are spreading these conspiracy theory stories like the one about children using a litter box in a classroom. I thought that thing died 4 years ago, and I've been hearing it a lot lately. I've even seen a couple of kids that I would say would be 25 years old saying, oh, yeah, they did that in my classroom. And I'm like, oh, my God, where did these people get this? What are they getting out of originating a story that is totally false?
I think, yeah, there's that. So I will now get kind of highbrow for a second and say that there's a term developed by the French philosopher Paul Ricoeur called the hermeneutics of suspicion. And that is that not you, but one, as the French would say, looks at the world and looks at everything that is said, every kind of text that the person examines. They start with the notion that it's false, that it's untrue, that there's something being hidden, something being concealed. And I would say that online culture, now that it is, 30, 35 years old, we're seeing that it just, for some reason or other, breeds that kind of attitude. We're not being told the truth. Here is the truth. And, of course, conspiracies are inevitably more interesting than reality. It's why Dan Brown is a popular writer, right? He's saying, you know what? All this received wisdom and this kind of latent understanding you have of things, it's wrong. It's wrong. You don't even know the truth about it. Something as basic as Jesus. So I think that people like that. it just enriches their world somehow. And so they are going to enjoy these stories. And the other problem is there's no way of knocking the stories down anymore because there isn't any accepted source of wisdom. I mean, I find that when people are presenting me with things that I know to be untrue, I will look them up on sites like PolitiFact or Snopes, and then if you give the person the link, here it is, PolitiFact or Snopes or, some of the other factcheck.org, which is run by Annenberg. Whatever you give them, they go, oh, well, everybody knows that site is owned by Illuminati communists and George Soros. Or so. I mean, the problem is they have now extended their conspiracy thinking to the sites and sources of verification. So we're lost forever. We're doomed.
Yeah, well, the really sad fact is that somebody that's running for a political office in our state is spreading these rumors about their schools out in the Plainfield area, and people are listening to these.
The kids are using litter boxes. What's the subtext of that? Like we're trying to get kids to be more like cats? I don't know. What is the?
No, I guess there's this idea that kids, 12-year-old kids or so, are dressing up in a full body cat suit or wolf suit or whatever, and are insisting upon howling in class, which might happen, but that they're putting a litter box in the classroom. And if you just think about that for 1 minute, if you've ever had kids, the minute one kid would use a litter box, there's going to be a bunch of kids throwing up.
Yeah.
And that would be a big thing. You would hear about that, but because they think that, well, it would end at the litter box, that's okay.
I like the old days when they just had jumping spiders in the classroom. But I do thank you for your call. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we live in an era in which conspiracy theories, first of all, they're algorithmically driven, too. This is something that we learned in our little adventures as a show, that if you start out with people who, and then, for example, the idea of the flat earth, which, believe it or not, had a big rebound 5-10 years ago. Suddenly there were all these people, some of them famous basketball players, claiming, oh, yes, the earth is flat, and there's photographic evidence, and then they do these YouTube videos. You watch the YouTube videos, and then they send you algorithmically, YouTube claims they've fixed this, but they send you algorithmically to a site about how 9/11 wasn't what it appeared to be, and then you watch some of those, and then you get sent someplace else, and pretty soon, or you become a vaccine doubter. That whole idea, they're not telling us everything, is so easily transmutable into almost every single argument. All right, so let's go to Jen, and then we'll go to Chris, and then we'll take a break. How's that sound? Okay. Hi, Jen and Avon. Hi, Jen.
Hello. I'd like to hear a discussion on the private equity investments in our hospitals. I know Waterbury Hospital is going through, UConn is trying to buy Waterbury Hospital now, but is it Prospect Private Equity owns 3 hospitals in Connecticut, and they've bankrupted all of them since buying them in 2016, I guess. But in any case, I know there were some states that were trying to outlaw private equity in healthcare, and I just wondered if there could be a discussion on that. And also, is the state of Connecticut financing some of this, or where is the financing coming from?
Yeah, we did have Chris Murphy here in studio about, I don't know, I'm going to say about 7 weeks ago, talking about all this. He actually has gotten pretty involved in it. I mean, the one thing that I would say about this, I mean, absolutely everything that you say is true. All the concerns you have are true. But the other thing that I would say is that there's a larger conversation that needs to be had about the degree to which hospitals that are at least nominally nonprofit are acting like profit-seeking entities. And I mean, for example, some people might be surprised to know that if you work for one of the large healthcare systems around here that are, well-established, not non-for-profit entities, almost invariably they have a rule. If you are a doctor making a referral, and if you refer outside, if you say, you know what, we get some okay people at this, but this person down at Yale New Haven, I'm going to send you to them instead of the people at Network X, that will affect your bonus at the end of the year, negatively, I mean. So that, we already have, problems within the existing form of healthcare that we have, all of which need to be looked at, I think. But yeah, the private equity stuff seems especially weird. Like they are essentially doing to hospitals what happened to, the Harper Current, for example, which is, they're just sort of milking them, stripping them bare, and then moving on. So, obviously something we need to have a bigger conversation about. Okay, so I said we go to Chris, and that's what we'll do, and then we'll take a break. We get some other people coming online here. So, Chris, you have the floor.
Okay, back to spiders.
Okay.
When I was 8, I was playing I think I was 8, I can't remember, but I was young, sitting on the floor in our living room, doing something, watching TV or playing with something, and a spider dropped down and landed on me, and I immediately jumped up and started screaming and jumping around. My dad was in the room, and he was laughing hysterically, and he said, "Look at the spider." And the spider was on the carpet trying to get as far away from me as possible. And I realized we were equally scared of each other. And I could squish that spider at any moment. And I got over spiders at that point.
At that moment, yeah. So it was it's kind of being thrown into the deep end of the pool, having the spider land directly on you. And now I sort of wonder, like the spider was running away, I think probably just because you're big, right? I don't know if the spider could hear you screaming.
Oh, yeah. And loud.
I know in space, spiders cannot hear you scream. And I don't know if they can hear you scream here. But
and you hear them scream.
Hearing the spider scream would be really interesting. And I would want to do that on headphones. All right, so... So we have to take a little break here. I can't even explain why I'm laughing. It would be just too hard. But we will come back, and you can call 888-720-9677. No one will interfere with your right to do that.
Home, how can he choose our disbelief suspended till he said it sounds like a record of kids in the backyard climbing down the dark ladder. Playing, singing, capturing a song that made the world a touch more beautiful. Sounds like a record of tears and laughter and friends on a learning curve. Their one devotion to a song that made the world a touch more beautiful. Sounds like a record. Sounds like a record. Sounds like a record, sounds like a record.
Am I lucky or am I just sane? Have I been walking around in circles, always fumbling your name? Heard it quiet at the bottom of my drawer, a heavy conversation that I started to ignore. Here I go, just one more. If I left it just a little while, would these questions...
I was having a hard time fading that because I was enjoying it so much. That's a Folk Bitch Trio, believe it or not, and they are wonderful. You're going to hear a lot more from them. Okay, and that was Jessica Hoop singing about raccoons going into the first break there. Okay, just so you're kind of up to date on the music. And we now, when we put, I don't say we, I don't do it, but when we put up the show thing, the web page thing, and I'm sorry to throw a lot of technical jargon at you, but when we put up the web page thing about the show thing, Dylan puts the names of all the songs that we played. So if you go to ctpublic.org and then look around for our show, it'll be there somewhere, and you can see what all the songs are. Because people want to know sometimes. All right, here we go. We're going to do a bunch of calls right now, and they are going to be all different. And I'm going to just wait on Mike for a second. Let's talk to Linda from Simsbury. We love anything involving traffic. Hi, Linda.
Hello. I thought, being that today is all over the place, this was the day to call in about this. I'm fairly new to Connecticut. I love walking. I love bike riding, and I really appreciate the buttons that you can push to cross streets.
Yep.
In these pedestrian crossways. And but as a driver, I was really wondering why I was blowing past them, because I consider myself careful and thoughtful. And then I decided it's because they're yellow, and they're really, in my brain, and probably a lot of drivers, not much different than the blinking yellow lights outside of fire departments.
Oh, so I see what we're saying now. So we're talking about those crossings, like you have some in Simsbury going across Hot Meadow Road because of the bike trail, right? And somebody pushes the thing, and then a light starts to flash. That's what you're talking about, right?
But it's a yellow light. It's like head high,
So you think they should be red? I think that's not an unreasonable. I think that might be, in fact, a borderline brilliant idea. I'm aware of those. We have them. We have one on Asylum leading to Elizabeth Park, and I think it's the same kind of thing. Yes. Did you ever see the movie Starman?
I don't know.
It's a very you would probably know. It has Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen, and Jeff Bridges. Yes. You have seen this movie, all right? Well, you may recall that he is an alien who's come to Earth and assumed the form of her dead husband. And at one point, they're sort of getting on the road and they're running away from their pursuers, their would-be captors. And at one point, he offers to drive. And so she says, well, you don't know how to drive. He goes, no, I've been observing you. I know how to drive. And so he gets behind the wheel, and she asks him about the lights. Do you know what the lights mean? And he says, yes, red, stop, green, go, yellow, go very fast. Which is, of course, what you would conclude observing a human being driving a car. So I think you're right. And I think we have actually accomplished something of substance on one of these episodes, and that is without precedent. I think they should be read. I think you're onto something. And
I think so,
a lot of very influential people listen to these shows, and I'm sure something will happen just
that's what I was
if we're completely passive, and things will just work out for the best. I've also been asked to announce Wiggingham Public Schools will be dismissed early today because of spiders. All right, so you have kids in the Wiggingham schools. You should just be aware of that. All right, so let's go to Steve, then we'll go to Mike, but we can take other phone calls as we go along, 888-720-9677. That is the plan, is to take other phone calls as we go along. 888-720-WNPR. It'd be fun to spell things out on your phone. All right, here is Steve from West Haven. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Colin. How are you today?
I'm no worse than could be expected.
You sound great, though, so you're hiding it well.
Okay.
You came on this morning, this afternoon, in the beginning of your show, and you talked about being a stomper, and that you admit to it. And I'm of your ilk when it comes to walking. I guess I'm a stomper.
You're just an old stomper?
People tell me that.
Who told you? Somebody said you were a stomper?
I just stomp along, yeah. And, so it just so happened during my morning doom scroll, which, I'm embarrassed to admit to, but I was doom scrolling and checking my email and, all that stuff and procrastinating. And I came across this thing, which is now a tab on my browser, which I haven't looked at, but I'm saving it for later, called Tai Chi Walking.
So you're Well, one thing I want to salute. There's a lot of people Steve, who are less serious than you are, who would have just thought, "Oh, I'll get to that someday." But you've actually made it a tab on your computer. So I think you're very close to actually doing Tai Chi. It's almost like doing Tai Chi is making it a tab on your computer. Do you want to do Tai Chi?
Am I being I'm sorry again.
Do you want to do Tai Chi? Are you tempted to do Tai Chi?
Do I want? I'm curious about it.
Yeah.
I'm respectful of it, or whatever. I think it's a real thing
from a distance. You don't think the people who are doing Tai Chi in the park are imaginary? If Tai Chi walking would be interesting. I would be interested in some Tai Chi walking. Although, let me just say this, Steve. Why should we be so ashamed that we're stompers? Why should people cast asparagus on us just because we stomp?
Well, for a person that's, suffered a few ruptured discs and had some hip injuries and whatnot, I don't think, you're making a high-impact sport out of walking.
True. Okay, so that's a health concern. But I feel like people say, and this could be just my own experience with the person with whom I share a life, people say, oh, you're a stomper, and they don't mean it in a nice way. They don't even mean it like, oh, let's get you some help. Let's get you to a Tai Chi course right now. They just go, oh, you're a stomper. Like, that's what you'll always be. And what you've given me, Steve, you've given me a tiny little window of hope that I could be something more, that I could be somebody who doesn't stop.
I'm happy about that.
I feel like I'm going to take the Tai Chi course and you're not. I think that's what's going to happen.
Did people suggest Tai Chi to you?
No, people just suggested that I be ashamed of how I walk.
As far as I'm not. Yeah. I'm the one who has the tab that's saved on his browser, not you.
Yeah, I know, but I just feel like that's as far as you're going to get.
I have a commitment.
All right, we'll talk. Okay, let's talk.
You think I'm going to shirk? You think I'm just going to be a shirker?
You're shirker and a stomper. The shirker stomper is really there's almost no getting back from that. People become cursed. Yeah, you almost can't come back from being a shirker stomper. If you're just a stomper, that's one thing. If you're a shirker, that's another thing. A shirker stomper, I don't know. There's not a lot of hope. You got to go see a priest, get penance, get absolution. All right. So poor Mike has been waiting to talk about something that passes for news right here for some time, and now he has the show. Mike, I tried to prepare to do this show. There's obviously no way to prepare. How did I know I had to study spiders today? But I thought all the people would want to talk about the end of the, or at least the deal that got cut last night and the shutdown and stuff. Nobody wants to talk about that. But you want to talk at least about last Tuesday, so that's something.
Right. Well, I think that election, I think it's fair to say that was a blue wave election. I mean, not only Mandami and Mikey Sherrill and Spanberger, but apparently down ballot races all across the country, judges, et cetera.
Well, also Georgia, the Public Service Commission, those two posts, right. They hadn't had anybody, Democrats had not had a representative on that commission since 2007. And, even in Mississippi, they lost the Republicans lost their supermajority. So, yeah, it wasn't just blue states. It was a lot of different places. Anyway, onward.
Yeah. Well, now a pre-Trump Republican Party would have said, we're in trouble. They don't like our policies. They don't like us. We got to regroup here. And of course, some Republicans did say that. I think Ted Cruz and even Steve Bannon, I think, said something along those lines. But of course, Trump I think what's happening is he's panicking now because he's really worried about the midterms. And so what is he going to do? No, he's not going to say affordability and he's going to double down on trying to do everything he can to prevent Democrats from voting a year from now. The gerrymandering, the redistricting. I'm sure he will send troops into the streets of cities, especially urban areas, and he may even seize voting machines. Who knows? I mean, I can't imagine him not doing something incredibly extreme to try to prevent any Democrat from winning.
Yeah, I think all poll workers will be equipped with pepper spray. So no, here's what I would say about what you were saying before, because I think this is a semi-serious and somewhat important point, is that, because I saw a guy that I know announced on social media today that he was going to become an independent. He'd been a Democrat, who's going to become an independent. He thinks both parties are terrible. And I think he was mad about the team cave, the 8 senators who caved on the shutdown. I think it is now not glib and not lightly taken to say that the Republican Party has essentially become a cult. I mean, it has a lot of the hallmarks of a cult. I'm not saying every single Republican is a cult, but the functional center of the Republican Party is very cult-like. As you suggest, it is entirely responsive to the whims and strange decisions of President Trump, and those decisions are rarely submitted to any other kind of test. Like, is this good? Will it work? Is it constitutional? Would it withstand a court challenge? Oh, the court did rule against it. Doesn't matter. I really have been astonished because I've been a registered Democrat for a long time, but I know and I esteem many Republicans. I've covered formidable and praiseworthy Republicans, and I've covered some really crappy Democrats too. I'm not wholly partisan. I would never have expected the Republican Party to do what it's done, which is just to fall in line with this guy and do whatever he says. Even when they know better, even when it contravenes some of the basic tenets of conservatism, they do it. And I'm shocked by it. I'm genuinely shocked by the degree to which it's a cult. And as a cult, I wonder how long it can last, because there's so little practical thinking put into it these days.
Yeah, it's interesting. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes.
Of all people.
Okay, now
starting to kind of slide away a little bit.
Right.
Of the
And
MAGA.
I think there's one other reason for that. And I've been very intrigued by that. Yes, she's been going on every show she could find and saying all kinds of things. I mean, first of all, she said that she was duped by QAnon, and she now does not believe in Jewish space lasers, which was one of her more famous things. But she said all kinds of stuff that is very, very affirming and very rejecting of Trumpism and MAGA, and very affirming of kind of the normal order of things. Now, she does have a book coming out, and you're going to get booked on a lot of more mainstream talk shows if you're doing something different and if you're being less crazy. And so I wonder if that has something, if book sales have some connection to this sudden change of heart, because it's a sudden and very comprehensive change of heart on her part, but change of heart on her part. But you're absolutely right that some of it might be just she sees the handwriting on the wall. All right, we're going to take a little break. I'm going to write on the wall in my handwriting. We're going to come back. We got Lori wants to talk more crosswalks. And Dave wants to talk more. Oh, Lake Como Dave is coming back to the show after a long, long winter of summer.
There's a kiki calling and a dining bed of dust over what it maybe was. So thanks be to Woody G. Gummy sap, stack of leaves, God loving every one of us. Going belly up and bust, going belly up, belly up, belly up, belly up, belly up, belly up, belly up. Skip the stream memory, kerosene kind of heat. I remember you more than any kind of truth, more than blush, burn, silver sage, ruddy poet on the page, down the ear, cutty hogs digging in the reservoir, muster out money makers rooting in the root of bigger. If we ever make it out of Spain. Hoping we don't make it that far. Hoping we'll be hipping through the cactus, living like the biggest little sluggers on the farm.
Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay if they'd put 15 more miles behind her. They might have split up or they might have capsized. They may have broke deep and took water. And all that remains is the faces and the names of the wives and the sons and the daughters.
All right, we're back. It's been a merry, merry day. The number's 888-720-9677, 888-720-WNPR. I have a cavalcade of people to thank, possibly a panoply of people to thank, starting with our technical producer, the maestro, Dylan Reyes, who wants you to know, the boat didn't sink 50 years ago. The song came out 50 years ago.
No, the boat sank 50 years ago today.
Really?
Yes.
It just seems like yesterday. But no, I just feel like it was longer ago than 50 years ago. Okay, I'm not going to... I mean, the worst thing you can do is get into a bar fight about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, because that's going to turn ugly pretty quickly. All right, so anyway, that's the maestro. This is a Lily Tyson Quality Entertainment production. You shouldn't... Should you listen to it with your earbuds, or you shouldn't? I don't know. She's got some very strong views about earbuds today, or headphones or something. And Robin Doyen-Aiken, who is our boss, is also screening calls today. So you'll be treated in a friendly and gracious manner, which would not happen if any of the rest of us were screening calls. All right, so we're going to go to the phones. Once again, you can call up about anything. 888-720-9677. 888-720-WNPR. We're pretty excited to get back on the show after a long hiatus, possibly, I don't know, a sabbatical maybe. Lake Como Dave from beautiful Lake Como, Ohio. Hi, Dave.
Greetings, Colin. Good to hear your voice. And it was lovely to hear Robin's voice, as I told her when she took my call. So I hope all's well with you. And, Ruth, it wasn't a hiatus or anything. I just sort of have a little bit of a standard for if I'm going to call in, I should think of something interesting to say. And week after week, I was just thinking, nope, I didn't get, it isn't happening today.
Do you listen to the things people call this show about?
Yeah, I know. Well, and so today's no exception. I have nothing interesting to say except that I'm picking up on the bit about stomping. And
Yes.
as a lifelong stomper.
You're a stomper? Yeah.
Very heavy walker. I mean, long walks since, my 20s, and I'm 65 now. It never really caused me a problem, but in the last year or so, I found myself sort of when I'm on the sidewalk or any concrete thing, I'd like slip over to the grass strip and walk there instead because my knees, they wouldn't hurt when I'm walking, but I'm interested in if other people feel this too. Later, the recovery time from a long walk in the knees would be really, worse. And so I was thinking, well, what to do because I'm not going to stop walking. And so you remember when you were like 8 years old or something? And
yeah, I did. Sitting on the floor and a spider landed on my head when I was 8 years. Oh, no, that was the caller. Okay.
But also when you're just sort of moving your feet along the carpet and they never leave the floor and just with a root sound and your parents say, hey, pick up your feet. Stop walking like that. What I found works for me is almost doing that. You just don't quite let your soles touch the ground in between steps. But it really smooths it out and makes it a more indolent kind of stride, even though you can still go fast. And boom, the knee fatigue pretty much went away.
So you feel like you've invented a new way of walking called the Dave. The Dave?
What I would
I'm
say
doing
is
the Dave.
Let's put a disclaimer that please consult your physician before beginning any exercise.
So, okay, I want to understand this better, though, because it's too bad we're on radio. The radio is a bad way to try to figure this out. So what you're saying is you act almost as if you were going to slide your foot forward on the floor, but instead you pick your foot up just a little bit, so there's a small amount of
just
space.
Don't quite touch the ground. So then you don't have that hard spunk of your heel, hitting, and that's what gets the knees, I'm sure, and then suddenly, after one or two times out doing that, it's like, whoa, I'm not groaning when I get up from a chair anymore. It's like, everything's much better. So
I'm up from my chair right now, and I'm trying this right now.
Well, it's a very, very difficult technique, and it may take 2 to 3 weeks to perfect, but actually it took 2 or 3 minutes. But
I found that it put a lot of stress on my buttocks doing that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say buttocks on the air, but initially anyway, I felt like my buttocks were doing more work than they just when I'm stomping along, having a good time, enjoying myself.
Oh, yes. See, I'm watching silently on delay on YouTube, and you just got up out of your chair now, so we're in 2 different time zones. But okay, yep, I see. You're sliding along. You just don't think about it. Just walk.
I felt precarious at first. You notice on the YouTube, I'm bracing myself on the table because I don't even know if this is even possible to do. The Dave.
You just kind of slide. It also helps to be not staying in place, but to be moving forward.
Yes, I know. I couldn't go very far because you saw the headphone cord. They don't really, I'm like a dog chained up to it. I said it's doghouse. Yeah. But so what does Mrs. Dave, does she say disparaging things to you about the way you walk?
Actually, this also played a little role because a couple times when I came up, typically she's working in a room near the top of the stairs, doing her freelance writing and stuff, and I come up the stairs,
stomping.
Thinking about it. Stomping, and it's like, boy, you're stomping so hard. What's going on? It's like, and then I'd feel sheepish, and then I think just to make her happier, I would just come
You
up the stairs
invented
like
a whole new way of walking just to make her happy. That's love.
Yeah.
Just to make her like you better.
Indeed it is.
You invented the
Indeed it
Dave.
is.
The Dave. All right. I think, I think all across America, people are going to start doing the Dave. I don't know if I didn't enjoy it. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say that in my brief time, just a matter of seconds, really, experimenting, doing the Dave, I didn't like it. And I enjoy the way that I started this whole thing. I touched off this whole conversation by saying, I enjoy the way that I walk. And I think I have much more of a feline, cat-like grace that I'm given credit for. I don't think I stomp all the time. And I think the way the word stomper is used in my house is unkind. All right. Meanwhile, Lori has something actually important to talk about. Although it's connected, there is a through line because when you use a crosswalk, ultimately the word walk is right in there. You have to walk across. Once the light starts flashing, you have to walk across. Whether you stomp or you do the Dave or you walk in some other way, you have to walk. All right, Lori, you have the floor.
Hi, Colin. How are you?
Are you in Wiggingham right now? Are you calling from Wiggingham?
Yes, I'm in Wiggingham. So I just wanted to comment on the earlier caller about the crosswalks.
Okay.
And we have one important one in Wiggingham that goes from the library to it's an old schoolhouse, which is a senior center. Mm-hmm. So there's parking on both sides when there's larger events happening. And I've gone through there once they put the lights up and was a little concerned because the yellow lights, they're high up. They're not at pedestrian level. And I don't think it's enough of an alert for people driving to just say, whoa, not just slow down, but sometimes it's better to stop and let the person go.
Well, you are supposed to stop. That's what people are supposed to do. And that's why all the callers who've brought this up, they are correct. We have one on Asylum Street, right where I live, Asylum Avenue, whatever it's called. And I every day I have to cross that road. And there is a thing where you can press a button and then the lights start flashing.
Yeah.
But I think the drivers see that as a suggestion that possibly maybe you would like to do something different because there are lights flashing, so maybe. And so, so in Wiggingham,
it needs to be more significant.
Yeah.
Like a red light. Yep.
Yeah. You think a red light would be the best? I mean, we could just, veer off into some entire new shade, some kind of attention-getting shade, like puce, for example, might be a possibility, or plum.
Persimmon.
Persimmon. A persimmon light. And to me, a flashing persimmon light, that just screams Wiggingham somehow. All right, so I see by the clock on the clubhouse wall that we're almost out of time here, and I do want to say that I thank everybody who called up today. I don't know that we necessarily solved anything, but I think we pointed to the idea that life is a much more rich and mysterious and whimsical experience than we could ever have imagined. So, from the Lily Tyson Quality Entertainment Production Clubhouse, this is me waving goodbye into the radio microphone.
All those years, all those dreams, all those plans. Yes, without me saying, I still love you. But I've enjoyed as much of this as I can stand. This table, all those years, all those dreams, all those plans. Guess without me saying, I still love you.